Hello and welcome to Grocery Guru. This is episode 39 and we are here with that Grocery Guru. Andrew, how are you?
Morning, Darren. Yes, very good. Thank you.
So this week we're going to talk about the introduction into the UK of the Russian supermarkets. Now I've got some information here, but I probably haven't got the experience you've got. What's your recollection of Russian supermarkets coming to Britain?
Well, they haven't. So this is really interesting, actually. They're called Mia, and they want to open 30 stores in the next year. 300 stores in the UK in the next year, and the first one is opening towards the end of this month.
Yes. Now, I do remember when discounters came before, you probably do. You were at Tesco. What's your recollection of that?
Yeah, well, this is the interesting thing, because I can remember, being at Tesco, the first Aldi opened, and I'd already seen Aldis in Germany, and I still got this vivid recollection of going into an Aldi in Germany, and in the chiller cabinet, the deli cabinet, there was a rusty knife hanging from a string, and people were cutting their own lengths of salami. I mean, I'd never seen anything so unhygienic in my life. And so the minute we found out that the first Aldi was opening, we thought, there's no way British shoppers are going to be, picking knives up out of cabinets and cutting their own lengths of salami and sausage, and they won't shop in those sorts of conditions. And then, of course, well, everybody knows the history. Aldi and Lidl landed, just touched something within the British psyche for a quality bargain, and I think quality is the important thing. A quality bargain, and together they've now got a share bigger than Asda and Sainsbury's.
And I've got something similar. My recollection as a very junior buyer in, I think it was the early 90s, was there was a guy called Tom Viner, who I think was probably CEO at the time. His initials were RTV, which I never quite understood. And then I realized his first name was Rudolph, but no one was allowed to call him Rudolph because they started doing red nose jokes. Anyway, so Tom was at a conference at the front and he was saying, he read out this clip from a newspaper. It said the discounters are coming. And his point was, we all went, yeah, that's bad, Tom. He went, no, this was written in 1902. He was trying to say to us that it comes every few years, it's cyclical, that the discounters come and not to worry. But actually, I think he was wrong, because to your point, they've got a hell of a market share.
Yeah, but I think my take is that this is actually really good news for the likes of Tesco and Sainsbury's.
Okay.
Because it's going to give Aldi and Lidl one major pain in the what's it to have to sort out. So this Mia group, they're planning to undercut Lidl and Aldi by 20 to 30%.
Yeah,
I mean, that is cheap. That is cheap as chips.
Yeah.
But when you look at the pictures of the stores, and anybody that's interested should have a look at. There's an article of the Leipzig store that Mia recently opened. I mean, their model is quite interesting. All the stores are leased. Yeah. On the cheapest possible, buildings that they can find, as long as it's near a main road. But the most interesting thing about the model is suppliers own the stock until it's sold to a customer. So suppliers deliver direct to store. The stock remains theirs until it goes through the till.
Wow.
So the suppliers are responsible for total inventory.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is a very different model. We don't have that in the UK with any of our supermarkets, do we?
Not that I know of, no. I mean, obviously, I suppose you could argue that, the retailers are quite good at extending their credit terms and not paying suppliers for 35, 42 days. So technically the stock is still the suppliers. But no, this goes one whole step forward. And most of the food is it's all delivered on pallets, and it's sold off pallets still in a shrink wrap. To save on refrigeration costs, there's only one refrigerator, and it's a room. So you go into a very cold room to pick up your yogurt and your milk and whatever. Again, I've seen that. I've seen those operating in Europe and in in Russia. And I'm not sure. I think it will give Aldi and Lidl something to think about it, because anything that cheap is going to corner a part of the market.
Yes.
And you only have to go around the UK post-pandemic, and there's whatever the government's levelling up agenda is, if anybody actually understands what that means, there's some serious areas of population around the country. And I think if this MEA group targets those towns, the really marginalised coastal towns and some of the old industrial towns in the north and the Midlands and maybe the southwestern Wales, they will get a market. But it'll be solely at the expense of Aldi and Lidl. I can't see shoppers migrating from a Tesco and a Sainsbury's to that sort of super basic environment.
Okay, that's interesting. Let me just share for anyone who hasn't got an understanding of the Russian market just for a moment. So I've got here that the Russian market is made up of predominantly 8 supermarkets. Now, the biggest one is the X5 retail group that has 12.8%. So let's call it 13%. And then Magnet, the next one, 8.8%. Then DKRB was 6.6%. So we've got about 8 players, with X5 being the biggest. Now, X5, I hadn't realised this, the size of X5, they have a revenue of 28 billion. So we're talking about a very big player here with an operating income of 1.5 billion and nearly 350,000 employees.
Yeah, but I think this MEA group is interesting because obviously they are, they're Siberian, which is, Russia in the refrigerator. It's not like it's Moscow or St. Petersburg. This is a Siberian retailer, and we should probably steer away from any cultural humour. But when you look at their corporate website, I mean, it is very compare the meerkat. It's been translated from the Russian, and it doesn't quite translate to perfect English, and I had a bit of a giggle, but I probably shouldn't be allowed to say that. But look, they clearly operate on zero cost. I mean, each of the stores is only going to have 8 members of staff, 3 filling the store, and 4 on checkouts, completely stripped down. But they're operating all across Eastern Europe, and they're now in Germany.
Yeah.
And they obviously see the UK as an opportunity. I think the first store is Preston. That's right.
And do you think that this is the start of other supermarket brands coming over, trying their hand in the UK market?
We'll wait and see. I do think back to, as we said right at the start of this, and Aldi coming, and everybody fobbed them off. Yeah. Oh, it's not going to work. Hard discount isn't right for the UK. And, we now eat our words 15, 20 years later. Yeah. So never say never. If they're determined enough, and the model is sufficiently different, it's not like they're using a standard retail model and just hacking prices, because anybody can do that and become massively unprofitable in the process.
Yeah.
But, if they've got a model where, that they're effectively holding no stock, and there's no customer service. They make a point, a bit almost Ryanairish. There is no customer service number, desk, or email. You want to complain? Tough.
Let me just share a little bit more about these X5 guys, because they're the ones I think we really need to be worried about. And I'll tell you why. So I'm looking here, and they have now launched Pay with a Glance biometrics at the checkout. It's just unbelievable. And what comes across from X5 is they are hugely innovative. 15,000 stores, okay, a lot of stores, of course. They seem to turn around their business in 2015 and became the market leader, and are on a trajectory to absolutely dominate like Tesco. So that's really, really good. And then we talked about the subleasing. here. These guys are doing it. I think it's what happened in 2015 that really turned these guys around. But the bit that really impressed me is they sort of held a Russian version of Dragon's Den. And they invited a lot of small businesses to come along, 800 startups. And they've started working with a whole bunch on new innovations that no one's ever seen before. So it's a little bit like Tesco's Red Door. Yeah, I think these guys are ahead. They actually started it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They sit across the very respected, innovative business.
Yeah, but having worked in or visited Russia a few times over the last 10 years, it's still, well, I don't know. Well, certainly when I visited it, it was at least 20 years behind the UK. So, it's still sort of almost virgin territory for retail.
Right.
So, anybody that's a good player, such as obviously Time are, I think they will make hay for quite a long time. It's a very different game trying to get into a market like the UK if you're operating on the same principal model as effectively the world best-in-class leaders.
Yeah, I get it. And what you said is they're bringing in a different model, which might take its market share and it might take it from Aldi and Lidl. So if we roll forward 5 years, do you think Aldi and Lidl, they've lost a couple of points between them to Russian supermarkets like me?
No, I think, they'll probably have 150 stores, 200 stores. But they'll just steal it away from, corner shops, market stalls, freezer shops. There's still lots of those sort of, our version of hard discounters.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably steal them from them because, the business model gives them an advantage over those more traditionally run hard discount stores.
Okay. So some of those freezer centres that we've seen, like Iceland have a big freezer centre, I've forgotten the format, and Farm Foods, they might be stealing from those.
Yeah, there's Farm Foods, there's a whole raft of small, semi-independent, quasi-hard discounters, and then you've got market stores, you've got the vans that drive around offering cheap meat and vegetables and frozen stuff. I can see them stealing that. Whether it's enough for them to show on Kantar as a serious player, I'll put my money on the line and say no. I don't think they'll have more than 1% share. I think they'll have less than 1% share in 5 years' time.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay, so we're talking about Russian supermarkets. We've got the big one, X5, followed by Magnet, and then DKRB. They're entering the UK market. Our grocery guru thinks they'll have less than 1%. We'll wait and see. Andrew, what's our takeaway? In 5 years, what's our takeaway before we leave you?
Well, as I said, whilst I've just made the prediction of this Mir Group having less than 1% share in 5 years' time, it is worth keeping an eye on them. I think have a look at their website. If you're anywhere near Preston in the next few weeks, I think it would be fun to pop in and see what it's like. Because if I'm wrong, then you do need to take, you will need to take notice of them.
All right, Andrew, we'll let you get back to your Friday. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye.